So today we're going to do a tonal drawing of our eye from a mirror. All you need is your pencil, a piece of paper, a rubber, and I'm sitting in front of a mirror, but you could also have like a little handheld mirror if you prefer. So I'm starting off with the outline of my eye shape, and I've added in that little bit in the corner, that tear duct, and I'm trying to get a nice, smooth, curved shape for my eye. And if you do quite a sketchy line, you can always tidy it up a wee bit with your rubber afterwards, like I'm doing. So I'm just sort of perfecting the outline. That's me adding in the little tear duct part. Now I'm going to move on to the iris, which is the coloured circle of your eye. So I'm trying to do a nice round circle, touching the top eyelid and touching the bottom eyelid right in the centre. I'm just kind of perfecting my circle a little bit, going back and forward, rubbing out any wee lines I don't want with my rubber to tidy it up. And once I'm happy with my circle, I'm going to go on and do the pupil, which is the black part in the centre of your eye. So I'm trying to put that circle right in the centre. And again, I'm just kind of keep going round and perfecting it to get it to be as close as I can to a circle. Now I'm going to start to sketch in any little highlights I can see on my eye. So that is where the light is reflecting off the surface of my eye. So any of those little shiny parts. And I'm just going to lightly sketch those in. Now I'm adding in the crease of my upper eyelid. So I'm looking in the mirror the whole time while I'm doing this at what my eye looks like. And now I'm adding in the lower eyelid. So I can see, when I look really closely in the mirror, I can see this little kind of rim going around the bottom of my eyelid. So I'm going to add that in. And then I'm going to add in some of those little tiny veins you can see if you look very closely on the surface of your eye, but I'm just doing them very lightly because I don't want it to look like my eye is bloodshot. Now I'm happy with my outline, I'm going to move on to the shading, the tonal part. So starting in the centre with the pupil, because that is going to be my darkest tone, so that's where I'm going to lean heaviest with my pencil. So filling in the whole pupil, but leaving out that little highlight that I sketched in. Now I'm going to move on to the iris. So if you look very closely at your eye in the mirror, you will see there's lots of these little tiny lines coming out from the centre of your eye. So if you have light coloured eyes, like green, like mine, or blue, this is a little bit easier to see. If you have quite dark eyes, you will have to look very closely to see these. And then around the outside of my iris, I've got a sort of circle of a darker tone, so I'm going to put that in. Just working my way all the way around. just perfecting that outside edge a little bit more. So these little lines in the centre, I'm spacing them out a bit more than the ones around the outside edge. And again, I'm leaving out those little highlighted parts. So I want to create a sort of medium tone on the coloured part, the iris of my eye. So once I'm happy with the shading on my iris, I'm going to move into that inner corner, that tear duct, where I've got a little bit of shadow. So I'm doing quite a light tone in here. And I want my shading to be quite smooth. So I'm just doing little small pencil strokes. So again, down at this outer corner, I've got a little bit of shadow. So I'm just adding in that light tone. And I'm leaving out the little highlight I had sketched in there. So now I'm going to add some shading to the crease of my upper eyelid to show where that fold is and where there's a shadow being cast. So I want this to look really smooth to show it's the surface of my skin. So again, I'm using the side of my pencil and I'm following around that curved shape. So just moving my pencil back and forward a little bit. If you do big, huge pencil strokes, you'll find that it's a lot more scratchy looking, a lot more liney, and you'll find it harder to get that kind of smooth texture that you're looking for. So you'll notice I've started darker in the crease and then gradually getting lighter as it goes across the eyelid. So I'm going back in just to darken up that crease a little bit more and then fading it out. So once I'm happy with all of the tonal shading, I'm going to move on to the final stage, which is adding in my eyelashes. So those come from right to the edge of my eyelid, and you'll notice that my eyelashes are curving up and out. So they don't stick straight up, they have a bit of a curve to them. And for this part I want to use the tip of my pencil, and I would want my pencil to be quite sharp. I'm just working my way along the top eyelid, so these eyelashes are longer on the top, especially as they get to the centre, that's where they're at their longest. So the whole time I'm looking in my mirror, I'm looking at what my eyelashes actually look like. You look at your own eyelashes. And they get a little bit smaller as I get to the outside edge here. And now I'm going to work my way along the bottom lash line, and the lashes along the bottom are a bit smaller than the ones along the top. So again, they're just slightly curving out the way, so not sticking straight down. Okay, and that is me finished the tonal study of my eye.